last week's improved form, do you think you can go even better this week?
Well, I think every week's a challenge for us at the moment, Ron, and yeah, we look forward to driving down the highway and taking on, a grand finalist from last year. It's great for our younger group to have those experiences, and yeah, look, if we can capture some of that form that we had again last week and sustain it for longer periods, then that's obviously what we'd like to see.
How do you explain the last quarter, the fade out, if you can call it that?
Yeah, I don't think it was a fade out, to be honest. I think if you look, there's 7 minutes to go, we're 16 points down. I think a lot has been taken into account in maybe the last 5 minutes. We got a few centre bounces wrong in the last 5 minutes, which hurt us, but up until 6-7 minutes to go, we were absolutely right in the game.
Or to scalp like the Cats mean to a youngish group?
Oh, I don't think it's just Geelong, but yeah, they're a renowned top-level performer, regular finalist. I mean, that's who we need to pitch ourselves to see where we're legitimately at. I mean, we did that with Port, Bulldogs, and I don't think any week is necessarily easy in our competition, but yeah, to be able to go down and learn more about our list and our young guys is great.
I think even the Cats would say they're not going at full rat power at the moment, so maybe they're a bit more vulnerable than they normally would be.
Yeah, possibly, but their team's still stocked with a lot of talent. They play that ground really well. It's a little bit different to the G. It's a bit narrow, a bit longer. The way they shape their defence is a little bit different from that side of things. But yeah, we certainly won't be underestimating their capacity at all.
The way Geelong have been playing has been probably a subject of discussion a little bit, that they've been a bit slow with their ball movement. I think it's been well publicised that you guys are trying to move it quickly when you get it in your hands.
Yeah.
That clash of styles create an interesting conundrum of how the game plays out.
It's an interesting dynamic, isn't it? If we get our offence right, which we think's been improving really well, what's hurt us has been our turnovers and our defence. So we've been working really hard, behind the scenes to get better mechanisms into our defence. So, yeah, look, I think like all things, Drew, I think when there's times and opportunity to create forward movement and opportunities, we think there are some times where we might be able to go quicker. What happens is you go really quick and you turn it over, your whole team's sort of in that offensive mode, and then you get a bit exposed. So we just probably need to try and pick and choose our times. But yeah, we still want to play quick where we can.
Coming up against Patrick Dangerfield's always a challenge.
Old friend of mine.
Yeah, he's probably a bit fresher than normal coming off the 3-week suspension.
Can't remember how he comes off a spell. Not sure. It doesn't happen very often, but well, look, there's him. Gary Rowan's back. Hawk up forward. So it won't be just about Patrick. So, but yeah, look, they're getting some talent back in, and we'll have some plans for all of those guys.
What's your relationship like with him? Knowing him?
Haven't spoken to him this week. No, we still stay in contact. So yeah, we still have stayed connected since the Adelaide days.
Injury bug keeps biting for you.
Yeah.
No Luke and Cam this week, obviously.
Yeah.
Have you reached a tipping point? Is it getting a little bit too tough now, or have you got cover underneath?
No, it's not too tough. I don't concede to that side of things. The experience that we've got with, as I keep saying, the Powers and Lazaros, like the growth and opportunity for those guys going forward is huge for us. It just means that what it allows you to do with injuries is to take that opportunity to look at something a bit different. It might mean that a couple of players where they played last week may not necessarily play this week. And so, what we did with Kane Turner, for example, last week. Josh Walker back in the team, so that certainly helps us. And over the next sort of 2 or 3 weeks, we'd like to think we get another 2 or 3 experienced players back.
Any more reinforcements this week to cover those two?
No, not at this stage, but we have got a couple of guys from the VFL that are in pretty good form. So R2's been in good form, Christian Cherry's been in good form, Curtis Taylor back last week. So yeah, so we've got some guys that we'll consider.
Sherry is a possibility then?
Probably not this week, I don't think. We brought Campbell in last week as the second ruckman. Quite like the look of that, so we'll probably persist with that. We also think that it gives Goldie an opportunity to play forward. I think he's got some tools as a tall mobile forward that gives the opposition something to think about.
I think there was that little span maybe in the second quarter where Goldie kicked a couple of goals.
Yeah.
Did you like, I know you've just touched on it there, but did you like the look of Goldie forward? Because Tom obviously more than hold his own in the ruck where required.
Yeah, I do. I think it has a knock-on effect for Larky as well. So Larks can actually play as a forward, and we can teach him the work ethic and the positioning as a forward without him being a little bit more gassed if he goes in the ruck. So I think that helps us. I think it helps our structure knowing that we've got two tall. So if we want to go quicker in a certain phase of the game, we can get it in a bit longer. And we know if you get it in longer, you can defend it better. So I think Goldie and Larks down there at times, or Tom, allows you to draw the ball a bit deeper.
Yeah, I mean, like he needs a bit of a help out up there.
He does, yeah. And we've got to deliver the ball better to him as well. You know, our ball movement, at times we can get it to sort of half forward, and then we just have to, that next connection point, we just have to take a bit of care with the ball.
Did you like LDU up forward? Obviously took that nice mark. Finishing probably wasn't where it needed to be, but do you persist with that, or does he need to have more mid-time?
No, I think both Hing and Ben can add to our forward line. If you can get your mids that go through and have that flexibility, I mean, he kicked one out of bounds on the full and missed one, so a 2-goal return for him as part of the midfield with a slight rotation forward is pretty handy. I think Ben was out on the lead at one stage there and Will sort of missed him, but he could have ended up, if we had 3 goals between those two, then that's a pretty good return for our mids playing some time forward.
I know Geelong and Chris Scott sort of talked about it yesterday, that they weren't super happy with the Cunnington decision being overturned where Patrick ends up with a 3-week ban. I guess
Don't know why.
It's sort of an interesting wrinkle that they're now got to play each other.
Patrick's collision caused concussion, this one didn't. I don't understand. We were extremely confident that Ben didn't make any contact with his head. I think even Rory Laird was on radio yesterday saying he was actually gassed when he went off the field for 3 minutes. I think it was 1 minute of game time. So, no, we were extremely confident going into that appeal.
Is there an argument there for not to bump the tackle instead?
Well, I wouldn't, but not on this case because he didn't actually hit him in the head. Like, you know, the thing was the report was supposedly that he'd been off for a period of time. In actual fact, he'd hardly been off at all. He was in his normal rotation. So I understand the sentiment and the protection of the head. We've mentioned to our guys just finding that balance between when to bump and when not to. The thing that I was more annoyed wasn't the bump, was the fact that it was delayed and we cost us a downfield free kick. So, you know, we just have to be better at that. So, but yeah, we've certainly spoken to our guys about the tackle versus the bump.
Thanks, guys.
Cool. Thanks.
Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Drew.